Donald Trump is basically downplaying the Supreme Court's leaked abortion ruling. Could it be that the Republicans finally realize that the vast majority of Americans are opposed to their fucking efforts? Um, and basically, I think a lot of us remember that sick feeling we felt on the morning of November 9th, 2016, when we realized that Donald Trump was going to be squatter. I know I had never felt that way after a disappointing election before, and I've been through this many times in my life. But this one was different, and it wasn't just because I feared for the future of our country in the hands of such a patently unqualified, unfit squatter. I felt that the election of such a man signaled that the nation was rapidly deteriorating into an antediluvian state in which the progress of the 20th century was rapidly unraveling. And there was one very specific sense of doom on one particular issue. Since Moscow Mitch had unethically held open the seat vacated by Justice Antonin Scalia, it was clear that they would replace him with another right winger, and that the Republicans would almost certainly have a chance to fulfill their promise to curtail the women's rights. The day that Donald Trump was elected squatter was the day women in America had lost their right to control their own bodies in every fucking state. It just took until now for the right cases and a couple more Federalist Society recommendations for backup to finalize this loss that they're going to go through. The leak of Justice Samuel Alito's draft opinion of the pending Supreme Court case, Dobbs vs. Jackson's Women's Health Organization, was surprising, but the opinion itself was not. However, emotionally jarring it was to read, as with so much else that the last 6 years that we've experienced. The U.S. is poised again, and once again, to abandon its status as an advanced democracy. The New York Times reported since 2000, 31 countries, many just as pious as Mexico, have expanded access to abortion. Only 3 have rolled it back: Nicaragua, Poland, and the United States. It's just one example of our vaunted exceptionalism. The American right wing's moral preening about the unborn, combined with its fetish for gun violence and resistance to guaranteed health care, make the U.S. a very special place indeed. It's very telling that the reaction to the news that the Supreme Court is poised to deliver the Holy Grail hasn't resulted in dancing in the streets by the usual suspects. I would have thought that repug voters would run out of their houses cheering and crying with joy at the news, as the pundits on Foe and the other fake news channel, Newsmax, would high-five each other and pass out their cousins. But instead of celebrating their sweet victory, they were obsessed with the leak, as if the integrity of the court is more important than the fact that they had finally achieved their most precious goal. Apparently, they had mixed feelings about their latest triumph. Why else would they care if the ending of what they term a Holocaust is announced in May or June? Could it be that they know that the vast majority of Americans are opposed to this, and they may not rebound to their political effort and benefit, basically? Is that why Trump told Foe that he doubts a decision in the case will have a tremendous effect on November's midterm elections? Almost everybody and almost everything about the Republican Party's embrace of anti-abortion zealotry has been nothing more than a cynical tactic to co-opt the large conservative evangelical Christian bloc of voters, and I'm not sure that they were prepared to actually deliver on this either. Like many people, I suspect that they thought that the court would whittle away at Roe vs. Wade and bite small enough to keep the Democrats from immobilizing, but enough to keep their anti-abortion faction agitated and engaged. The Supreme Court overturning Roe may complicate the GOP's immediate plans to win the midterms and sabotage the Biden administration and then win trifecta in 2024. But this statement from anti-abortion zealot and Nevada GOP Senate candidate Adam Laxalt illustrates the problem for some of them. Basically, he tweeted out that abortion rights are settled in Nevada. That's pretty fucking disgusting, but one of the most cunning aspects of the decades-long anti-abortion political strategy has been to argue that they are morally outraged by what they call the wanton murder of babies, while in the same breath blithely insisting that they are fine with a bunch of faceless state politicians and courts doing whatever they want if Roe is overturned. It makes little sense, but I've rarely seen anyone challenge them on this. The legal draft relies on this state's rights argument as well, which is really rich considering that he contemptuously compares Roe to Plessy versus Ferguson, which upheld Jim Crow laws on the basis of the same rights doctrine. Now, Adam Serwer in The Atlantic explains this. In Plessy, Justice Henry Billings Brown held that Louisiana's segregation law, as far as the 14th Amendment was concerned, reduces itself to the question whether the statute of Louisiana is a reasonable a reasonable regulation, and with respect to this, there must necessarily be a large discretion on the part of the legislator. Alito has now applied this same logic to abortion, but not just abortion, but arguing that in the future, courts should defer to state legislators even when the laws at issue concern matters of great social significance and moral substance. I do think it's fair to assume that Alito will not object if a future Congress and any future president pass a total ban on abortion, as the Washington Post reported, and was already being polluted by pro-life movement activists and the GOP sycophants. But in the meantime, Alito's states' rights logic, which served its purpose until 50 years ago, will likely be put to good use by this radical Supreme Court majority to roll back much of the progress on the second half of the 20th century and the first 20 years of the 21st. Despite his protestations that this argument only applies to abortion, it's pretty clear that the driving forces behind this movement will not be satisfied with it. Almost certainly, marriage equality and contraception are at the top of their agenda. The New York Times just reported over the weekend that BDARE's Peter Brimelow, or whatever his name is, was recently on the faux organization charge, reporting directly to Rupert Murdoch. Although the network says Brimelow does not, or Brimelow, whatever the fuck you want to say his name is, does not currently have any relationship with faux. Until they can get their nationwide ban, the anti-abortion zealots will be hard at work in the states. According to the Guttmacher Institute, which tracks abortion politics, there are already 23 states with restrictions waiting to be enacted the minute the decision comes down. And there are trigger laws in basically Mississippi, Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming, instantly limiting or banning abortions, mostly without any exceptions for rape or incest. And 9 states have pre-roll laws that were never repealed. And they are already feverishly writing new laws to prevent women from accessing the abortion pill through the mail and from traveling to other states to obtain the abortions, which they will now feel free to criminalize. CNN reports that Missouri, for instance, is contemplating a bill that would expand its already draconian abortion law to abortions obtained out of state by Missouri residents in other circumstances, including in cases where sexual intercourse occurred within the state and the child may have been conceived by that act of intercourse. And how do they expect to know such fucking information? And that's where we're going with this, folks, right into the bedroom. Justice Samuel Alito has written an opinion designed to destroy the right to privacy so that he and his patriots can metaphorically pull up a chair at the end of your bed and decide what you're allowed to do and with whom. It won't end with abortion, but it was never about abortion. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of my YouTube channel. And for just a little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help the channel go a long way. And thanks for listening.